Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Paul's Cinema Picks of the Week. I am your host, Brantford film enthusiast Paul Westbrook, and today we're going to start to deviate a little bit from what we usually talk about. We talk about movies, yes, and this one I got some DVDs, but given that it's the Halloween season coming up, we're going to be talking about ghost documentaries. Documentaries about ghosts and hauntings, and not the ones you would see in film, but actually the actual life ghost hauntings. And I figured it'd be something different because, you know, it's near Halloween, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's perfect. So let's get to the ghost documentaries. And this one here is from a thing called Travel Channel. It's like the Travel Channel. It was a channel on TV where you go to different locations, you know, the exotic locations or any well-known locations like London, Ireland, Canada. You get to see all the different stuff. But in this one, it's about ghost stories. And this one here has seasons 1 and 2 on it, which, like the Ghost Stories one was the series. And it's, again, season 1 and 2. And it tells you about different. It's got various ghost stories in it. It's got 2 discs, disc 1 and disc 2, and they have at least. Let me see. On each one, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 stories on disc 1, and then 2, 4, 6. 6 regular stories, and then there's a bonus special on ghostly lovers. And that's an interesting one in itself. But yeah, you get to hear about different stories. You get to hear about a drowned nun. You get to hear about the haunted beaches in Galveston, Texas, and to a New Jersey prison, which is still haunted by a former inmate, and a Manhattan restaurant haunted by the ghost of a long-deceased girl, and of course a haunted theater. So you get like a going into a theater, and then there's various interviews with different witnesses, and they get to talk about the different hauntings that went on in this theater, which is very good because if you like ghosts and you like going on ghost excursions, I myself have been on a ghost walk. I don't know about you.
In a way.
Yeah, went on ghost walks and going to various haunted places. Yeah, I've been to at least 2 or 3 of the most famous haunted locations in England. I can honestly say are 4, if you count Buckingham Palace, and getting to investigate about the possibility of ghosts in that area. Now, actually, I'm going to feature Dobby for a second here, because dogs, believe it or not, are very sensitive to paranormal, extreme paranormal activity.
Oh.
And I think my sister has.
He knows when there's things around here or on the street. He knows.
But there's ghosts in
He
his
lets
house.
us know.
That we are actually in a place that does have ghosts. So, yes, there's a little bit there for Halloween, telling about ghost stories. And the place actually where I'm sitting here right now is a very strange area because this is where my sister's fiance passed away.
I'm my husband.
Yeah.
Technically your brother-in-law.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, the common law, right? Okay, yes. Your common law husband, or I always call it fiance, common law husband, he passed away in the very spot that I'm sitting in right now. So there's that too. And yeah, like I said, our dad recently passed away, but he hasn't made any visits yet. So for now, we'll leave it at that. Okay, second one. Like everybody loves Hollywood, of course. When we talk about movies and different cinema and the history of film, this here is the Hollywood Ghost Stories. And you get different sequences. You get Exorcist, Poltergeist, Amityville Horror, The Omen, The Entity, The Legend of Hill House, and many more. You get The Adventures of Superman. Believe it or not, George Reeves, who was Superman in the 1950s, is said to be a ghost that haunts a home, which is mentioned in this documentary right here.
There's a place where Charlie Chaplin's supposed to be haunting as well. I just don't remember the name of it.
Charlie Chaplin. Oh, I didn't
A
know
bar.
that. A bar, and Chaplin's supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because I'm a huge Charlie Chaplin fan. So definitely, if you find the article, let me know or send it to me.
Alrighty.
And yes, in this one here, it asks, "Is Hollywood haunted? To believe, or not to believe? It's all up to you. Just watch the documentary and you find out." But like I said, it lists a lot of the locations. It's a documentary from the 80s, but still, at the same time, you get to see some of the locations in Hollywood that are said to be haunted. I have another one called Haunted Hollywood, Haunted Graveyards, which again expounds on it a little bit more, and then it goes into the graveyards, which is just more or less a tour of the different cemeteries that are in Hollywood, where many of the dead celebrities are supposed to be resting.
I find cemeteries the quietest place to be.
Yeah.
Most relaxing.
Oh, yeah. That they are. And then there's times when they're not either.
Not for me. I find them peaceful.
Sometimes the cemetery can be very active. And that's what but we don't really go into that in the documentaries. They just more or less show different places where so-and-so is buried, and like different celebrities where they're buried, and you get to actually see their grave sites. And some are very impressive. They're inside mausoleums and whatnot, or out in the grounds. Some graves are not really shown. You really have to look for them. But yes, at the same time, the interesting aspect is the ghost stories, different stories that go on about these graveyards and studios. Hollywood studios said to be haunted, and you get to see in this documentary, you get to see the home of Elkie Summer. She was an actress and a classic actress of the 60s, 70s, and she talks about a ghost that's in her home. And you get to hear an account of that. Now, I want to get to this one here. This is a special edition. It's called A Haunting. It was a television series which was on the air, and it talks about, and here you get 53 chilling tales of supernatural. And you get to hear about ghosts. Some of them venture more into the demonic possession type thing. I like the ghost stories even more because they're more fascinating. The demonic thing, you're getting into something very dangerous. Yeah, I always say you have to be careful. And a lot of people, the problem is they try to delve into it too much. So my advice is don't. If you ever have an Ouija board in your home, don't even use it. That's my statement right there.
As a witch, I wouldn't even use one.
No, I would not. I avoid it like the plague. In fact, so you see it in stores, you think it's a toy. It's not a toy. And some of these stories here, they tell about people that have done that, like where they actually used the board net and it turned into something that they really couldn't handle. And you're basically opening up Pandora's box, so to speak. You're opening yourself up to something that if you're not ready to handle, you can't handle it. And it can make your life miserable and a lot of trouble that happens as a result of it. So, but yes, the stories in this are really good. They're basically reenactments. Like you get to see the actual on-screen reenactments of these stories and what happened to some of the people in this series. And this one here is seasons 1 to 6, although there were more than 6 seasons, but still, 6 seasons you can't do too. I wouldn't say you're doing too bad with. On DVD, you get a lot of good stories that went on here, and the voice of the guy in it was really good because he had this really low, scary type voice. I can't really do it, but when you listen to him on the show, he was pretty good, and it really offers a chilling narrative as you're watching these stories, and watch them in day, watch them at night, and then see what you think. Okay, now moving on to our next one. We got Castle Ghosts of the British Isles, and 4 full-length programs on 2 DVDs. There was a program that was on, and I think your first husband taped it for me once when he only taped the first 2 stories. They taped 2 or 3 of them, but there was one he didn't get. But anyway, I managed to find it on DVD. So now I have all the stories in that. You get Ghosts of Ireland, you get Ghosts of Scotland, you get Ghosts of England, and then you get Ghosts of Wales. And of course in Ireland you get different castles like Castle and Castle Leslie, which have a lot of dark history in them themselves, and mysticism bound. Scotland has a turbulent past full of bloody feuds, heroic deeds, and dark treachery. And that really makes for a very good backdrop when hearing spooky stories. In Scotland, you get the 3 most haunted castles in Scotland: Glamis, Duntroon, and Fyvie. And Fyvie is the home of the Green Lady. Now, they call the ghost the Green Lady because she appears wearing a green dress. So like a white lady would appear in a white dress. There's also a blue lady and a red lady and different ones, and it depends on what they're wearing. Could never figure out why when a ghost appears, why they're wearing clothes. It's like, do their clothes have ghosts too? Is that because no, I think that's one of life's bigger mysteries, one that I might have to look into someday. And in England, which is where I actually went, I never went to Studley Castle in Muncaster, but I have been to the 3rd one, which is the Tower of London. And that's where a lot of executions took place. Where usually if you went, you lost your head. Or you were put on a torture rack and tortured for hours and then killed, and then tells the story of the princes of the tower. The 2 young princes that were, I guess, supposedly killed by their greedy uncle, well, as he was portrayed in a lot of English things. And lately a lot of people have disputed this, that King Richard was in fact misrepresented in history. That maybe he wasn't the devious scoundrel that he was. But in this one, yeah, they said according to the legend, I guess Richard had the 2 boys smothered and killed, and then they were buried underneath one of the stair areas of the tower, and their ghosts are supposed to wander the tower to this day. Because some people go and they see these 2 boys dressed up in this 15th century or 16th century type clothing, and then they assume that's the 2 princes. Of course, there's the ghost of Anne Boleyn, who appears sometimes with her head, sometimes carrying her head underneath her arm, and she usually goes from the chapel where she's buried over to the Queen's house. Like her ghost will drift over to that way and then vanish or whatnot, and you get to hear about that story, of course. And then there's Wales, which is like the Diana Princess of Wales. You know, I think the Spencer family were from Wales, if I remember correctly. And there's, of course, Charles. He was the Prince of Wales, and now he's our king. And this one, the Brooding Castle of Wales, is setting for countless foul murders, feuds, and dastardly deeds. So you get to see some of the valleys and tormented spirits of the many victims of a lot of these royal people that wanted to eliminate them, because that in the hierarchy of the royal families in England, a lot of times back then, there were a lot of people. There's a lot of controversy, and they said some people were killed. Like people would be killed. Many different people were killed over the centuries, and of course, resulting in the ghosts that would appear in the castles. But yeah, if you want to really look at some of the British ghosts, this is probably your best documentary you could look at. And then, I'm going to say the best one for last. Then there's the Unsolved Mysteries. You ever seen this show?
Kind of.
With Robert Stack, who was a famous actor. He And there's different stories. It's all a 4-disc collection featuring the best unsolved mystery segments about ghosts. So you get at least 4 discs. You get 4
I'll definitely
discs.
have to borrow that.
It's a set, which is it's really a neat set. It's one of those good ones that you get to study about ghosts, and Stack talks about the Resurrection Mary, talks about the Lady in Black, and yeah, they had so many different stories about ghosts. The Myrtles Plantation Grace ghost, Queen Mary ghost, which is the ship. The Resurrection Mary one was my favorite one. And The Entity, which was a movie, and this is a real life.
Definitely got to let me borrow those.
Was that?
So you definitely got me to borrow those.
But it's a good one. If you ever want to watch something about ghosts, it's probably one of your better documentaries. Then there's finally this. I used to have it on videotape, but then I decided to get it on DVD, 5 DVD set, which is Ghost Stories, hosted by Patrick McNee. Now, a lot of people don't know who he is today, but he was the John Steed in the original 1960s TV series, The Avengers. But he goes into, again, the different stories. We talk about the ghosts of England, and then we go into America. We even go to the Old West. They talk about the town of Tombstone. Because Tombstone had different ghosts and hauntings in that area, too. And in this one, you also get skill testing questions. So you get to do a little bit of trivia as well. So once you watch the story, you get to hear about you get trivia questions, and you have to see if you can answer if you paid attention to watching the stories. But it is one of this is also one of the better documentaries out there on spirits and ghosts. Yeah, it was one of the first ones I had. And you get Red Feather, which is an interesting story. She was a ghost of the Spirit Canyon. There's an area of the Spirit Canyon where an Indian girl threw herself over into the canyon. I guess she didn't feel she was at home in the white man's land, and she didn't feel at home even in her own people, in the community with her own people. So she killed herself in the canyon, and her ghost is supposed to appear around the canyon. And people have seen her, and it's one of the America's more famous ghost stories. And of course, talk about the Tower of London again. You hear about different. It's about the same. I think it's about the same as the Tower of London one in the British one as well, because when you're covering British stories, you got to do mostly like the Tower, the Bloody Tower, and those areas that I've been in, and you can definitely feel something like that. It's definitely when you can feel a presence. And my sister told me, by the way, like said about seeing a. You said you seen or heard a ghost in here?
Both.
Oh, you've seen apparitions? Is it shadow people, or is it...
One's a shadow, yeah.
And the other's a full apparition.
And I can't show the camera, but...
Anybody we know?
No. The second top shelf over there,
yeah.
There's a Harry Potter musical globe.
Yeah.
We all know I'm short as heck. I'm 5 foot even. I can't reach that high.
Yeah.
Bill and Dave were out one day, and all of a sudden that went off. That has to be wound up to be turned on.
Oh, okay. So it just went off one day.
Yes, I have it on video.
And all of a sudden it's like, sometime we'll have to see the video. And there's a lot of interesting ghost stories. And
this building is the oldest building in this neighborhood.
This is the oldest building right here.
Yes.
Yeah, you can tell the ceiling. When you use
that's
how I always tell, because the ceiling.
No, there's an old map of Brantford that I used to have that I gave to the landlord. This was the only house with for miles around that kind of thing.
Like a lot of old buildings also, you can tell that there's an old building through the ceiling, because the ceilings are higher than usual, because today's ceilings are more down. So you could actually practically reach it. I remember a house that I lived on Park Ave, you could almost reach the ceiling. Almost bang my head on the thing. But you could, you could reach the ceiling. So yeah, I don't think Brantford has a lot of things in terms of ghost stories, but in the meantime, it's always good to keep an eye out. Check the websites. There is one called Ghostlands page, I think it was, and it lists some of the haunted areas of Brantford as well. So maybe they'll do a future DVD on that. But anyway, this is Paul Westbrook, Brantford Film Enthusiast, again reminding you to like and subscribe to the channel. Please leave a comment. We need to have comments. I know my sister said that we look at that and they don't seem to have the comments. So please, we need to have comments so that we know that people listen to the program or enjoy the program or whatever, and it helps keep us motivated and keeps us going. And like I said, like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below. Thank you for listening. And like I said, we're going to do some more Halloween stuff before Halloween, so I just wanted to bring some of my ghost stuff so that people could look at that. And for now, it's Paul Westbrook reminding you, I'll be seeing you at the movies. So till then, good night.